When I was 4 years old, I was asked to draw a picture of God. I drew my father, because I was told by a male-dominated religion that my God was the ultimate he, not she, that should be praised, and I had no alternative male figure to compare this to. Now that I'm in college, I realized far too long I have been looking towards men to make sense of my existence, that women far too often leave one another in the shadows of obscurity. I now know that my God is a mujer. Her brown hair flowing in the wind as she blew strength within my struggling soul. My God was a woman of color. When I told my fiery grandmother this, she almost fainted, telling me she always knew radicals were made in college. I tried to explain to her that the God that I was taught to pray to during my 13 years in Catholic school never bothered to answer me. That the day Mama came home from the hospital wearing paralysis like a see-through shirt, told me the virus made it impossible for her to move the left side of her face, that there was only a 75% chance that she would make a full recovery from these bare insecurities. I prayed harder than any kid in school. Clenching onto the rosary I kept in my pocket for 3 months, hoping to hold it tight enough to stop my faith from slipping through my fingers. My mother had a smile that could light up an entire room. My mother had a smile that was contagious. Her grin infected anyone at least 5 feet from her, but after that day, she wanted you to stay at least 5 feet from her. Simple blinking of her left eye became impossible. Petals suddenly plucked off their stem. Her rose-colored cheek withered. She wore on her face all the insecurities she carried on her back. I found myself confusing the good half from the bad. The light of both darkened as she hid in shadows of self-doubt. I could no longer detect my mother in that face. And like any solar eclipse, this was frightening and confusing. Tears falling uncontrollably suddenly from her bad eye. Tears falling controllably just as suddenly from her good eye. I prayed that the Lord manifested himself in these tears, caressing her tired skin on their way down, whispering sweet affirmations of the beauty she could no longer see. I searched for a God to give strength to my mother because as a woman, I was taught that I couldn't find divinity in myself. And I learned then that looking towards another being for salvation places me on a lifeline supported by a machine so unlike myself, claiming to work in place of my own body. How was I to believe after he ignored me for an entire year? How was I to apologize to the little girl who held the Bible closer to her heart than Grimm's fairy tales, explained to her that both books assured her that men would save her before she ever thought about saving herself? So I stopped believing that this text was anything more than a cornerstone of patriarchy, casting stones on women who want control of their own reproductive systems, casting stones on love transcending the confines of gender. So people ask me, who do you believe in? I say myself. I find faith within my own inner goddess. She is a woman because I believe that women have the greatest capacity to love, the greatest capacity to heal. I have faith in her because I believe in myself. I have faith in myself because I believe in her. My God has a smile that can light up an entire room. My mother is my savior.